some spring in the step of the veteran scribe today. Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike Max, Lavelle E. Neal, Lou Nanny, and Sid Hartman.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're out. You're right. Jazz, when the Gophers won yesterday, you started because you were upset because people didn't stick around to celebrate the win.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a happy time for you. The Gophers beat Purdue
It was a very
in a
happy
big way.
time for me. But I think those people are 12th man in that stadium. There's no doubt about it that they helped the Gophers win games. And I guess it was pretty cold out there. Yeah, I was very, very happy because with all the negativity going on, with the $800,000 with the North Carolina, with the Smith deal, Smith's son, and all the stuff about
it was a bad week the week before.
It was a bad week. And I went in the dressing room after the game, and I wanted to see the smiles on Teague's face and the president's face, and I was glad it shut all the negatives off for a while. And they did a heck of a job. The coaches Nelson did a heck of a job yesterday, but that coaching job yesterday was unbelievable. How they found,
in what way?
Huh?
What way?
The way Purdue played the passing game. And they found openings in the passing game all day. And the amazing thing is they won that game. They played with a third-string center who didn't have one bad snap. They played with one offensive lineman who started the season, Campion, and he is a sophomore redshirt, and no sacks, and they got a heck of a break now. Michigan comes in there without Robinson, their great quarterback, the way it looks. He got hurt. They'll win a 6th game, and they'll go to a bowl game.
Well, that concludes the first segment. I'll try to work you guys in at some point in time here. Louis, we did talk about it last week, though, $800,000, and there was a lot of emphasis on that. But more than that, the backdrop is they had just lost again. And as you pointed out last week, if you win, you pretty much get people to forget about everything.
Well, it was really a good one, as Sid said, especially when you have a youngster like Phil Nelson coming in. And his passing was outstanding. I can't remember when anybody passed as well since Weber. And Weber had one big game, but this guy's passed, I'd say, as well as anybody in the last 20 years. And he looks like he could do it. Remember at Mankato, I think he had 10,000 yards or something. And this kid can throw the ball, and it's really a positive for the Gophers.
Yeah, he's a gamer, and Lavelle, I think they'll get that win against your Illinois team at minimum.
Illinois is terrible, and I went to Illinois, by the way, Lou.
Good.
But we're awful this year. I mean, we were up 14-7 against Indiana in the first quarter yesterday, and then proceeded to get outscored like 24-3 over the next 3 quarters. So if the Gophers need one more win to be bowl eligible, it'll probably come against the Illini.
Let me tell you a story about that. I'm with Forrest Evashevsky, and a big buddy of his who went to Michigan, who was coaching at Delaware. And we're out someplace, and the Illinois job is available, and he's offered the job. Tubby somebody. So Evie says to him, Tubby, this is the best job in the Big Ten. You ought to take it. That's what he thought of the job at the time. They're like Minnesota. They haven't won forever. In the days of Bert Ingerson, in the days of Ray Elliott, in the days of Mike Waite, they won consistently. And they haven't won since.
You know what? Illinois would be happy to follow the path that the Gophers have followed, and because Jerry Kill took the lumps last year, and now there's signs of progress this year. It's not time to start, closing schools or holding parades. And, you got to see some more development. Phil Nelson against Purdue. It's Purdue. Let's see if he continues to develop and starts beating better competition, and see if the Gophers can recruit to put up other players around him as well. But, they're making progress.
Okay, so Louis, the question that I have for you in the Big Ten, forget the sport, would you rather recruit to a place like the Twin Cities or a college town for a college, if you're trying to get a kid to go to college there?
Well, you don't have the rather. You have what you have, and you have
but which
a
one
big
would
town.
Which one would you, if they said, Louis, you can recruit to any city you want here in the Big Ten, would you rather have a Twin Cities, or would you rather have a Champaign, Illinois, or would you rather have an East Lansing? What would you rather have?
Well, I'd rather have the Twin Cities than anywhere except 3 big places. That's Ohio State, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They got a lot to sell there. But I think when you have the things we have to sell in the Twin City area, it's really a positive, and I think it makes recruiting a lot easier when you could sell prospective athletes into watching professional sports, especially, you know, a football player would like to watch the
You would
Vikings when
think
they're on
that.
there. Yeah.
But
And,
it's
but
not
you have
that.
to sell. It's like anything else that you have to do a sales job, and you have to be effective at it.
Here's a
Lou
point.
Holtz believed that, though.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Absolutely.
And he
he
did
thought
it,
that you could
and he
use the
did it.
city as an advantage.
And the dome.
Here's a point.
Right.
With every coach here, every superstar, except Nelson's one of the few, who got an offer from another school, went there. No different this year. And this place is not that easy to recruit to. I mean, there's...
Let me tell you something. I'm sitting there. The Ohio State comes into the Dome a few years ago, and their defensive coordinator is Mark Snyder, a guy I knew well because he was here. He says, we're flying in, and I'm looking at this city, and I'm saying, this is a gem to recruit to. This is a great place.
8 coaches have been able to recruit here, and 44 years they haven't won a championship.
You gotta accentuate
so
your
how is
positives,
that
though.
true?
I'm just saying. To Lou's point.
Did Lou Holtz do a good job here?
Holtz was the only coach they had who I think could have made this a dominating
Salesmanship
area.
is what you're saying. What's the
That's what I'm
difference,
saying.
right? It's the same city.
Because he's a good salesman
Same
and he sells
facilities.
the product. That's exactly right.
And I keep saying you're going to get a couple of 4-star recruits, maybe a 5 every now and then, but the foundation of the team's probably going to be 3-star guys that are going to have to be coached up. And
that's supposed to be Coach Kill's forte, is that he coaches guys up.
I think the MAC conference is a perfect conference where you see a lot of those types of kids that have to be coached up. And I think Kill has experience doing that. That's why I think it could work out here for him.
They got a guy, Ray Hitchcock, has coached the line at Cretan-Durham Hall.
Yep.
And they can't get a kid there of any merit, any good, under any circumstance.
No, they've had a lot of good Cretan kids come there over the years.
I'm talking about the superstars.
Yeah.
The Hendersons, the kid that's coming out this year.
On Walu.
Huh?
On Walu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Back after this. J.D. Hoyt's nationally known, locally owned, just had a great pasta over there with Pat and the gang. Had a nice visit. Eric Curry hanging out there. Great Big Ten basketball referee and beyond. Stop on by J.D. Hoyt's. You get something good to eat and then some at J.D. Hoyt's. Now, what were you saying before we went to break?
Nothing.
Yeah, you were talking about the Gophers.
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
I was talking about the
You
Gophers.
said, no, I want you, hang on, you get the official statement and then we'll work the rest of the room. You said that there's a lot of negativity around here media-wise. Probably true because they get compared to the pro game to an extent and they're held to the same standard. But you said that like Trevor Mbakwe's DUI would have been a third-page, 3-line story in a college town.
I said it wouldn't be as big a thing in Purdue or Iowa or Madison.
Okay, I don't really study those papers that hard. Lavelle?
See, my thing is, wherever you're at, and he kind of touched on it, you have to accentuate your positives. And you spin that into a positive with the players you're recruiting. You're like, look, this is a bigger city. It's got 2 newspapers that like to compete with each other. It's a bigger media market. You're going to get great training as far as how you're going to see how the team's going to be covered. You're going to see how they write about wins and losses. And if you were thinking about taking your game to the next level, you'll be prepared more to handle that type of coverage when you do become a professional athlete.
Here's the thing. As long as the Vikings are here and the Gophers don't win, they're not going to be a major what-you-call. If the Gophers start winning so they can compete a little bit with the Vikings, it's a Viking town 100%.
Wait a minute. No, I didn't say that. This isn't about the Vikings. This is about how the Gophers are portrayed. And, you know, when they screw up and a kid gets busted for DUI or get arrested for something, it's going to be bigger news than it would be if he was in a small town where it could be covered up.
Okay, we got that point straightened out.
And the same.
Louis, what do you think?
I loved when you called the DWA off the air.
I got my own labels for everything.
Actually, well, what they're saying is right. but
DVI.
This is a Vikings town, and when it is a professional sports town, you know, you're going to have tough reporting, and there is a lot of negativity. It's easier to write negative.
How much does my
And
paper
it's
write
gonna-
about academics at the U?
And it's going to carry over.
Yeah.
And it's going to carry over with the colleges.
Yeah, because it's the same
Yeah.
mindset for the same reporter.
Yeah.
Point is this, the Vikings are the most popular sport in this town.
Right.
That's a football sport. For some reason, the Gophers cannot attract younger people. Yesterday, 41,000.
It was terrible.
Huh?
It was terrible.
41,000 people there.
The attendance, I mean.
And I doubt if there's that many.
Yeah, there wasn't anywhere near that.
But
The
you were wrong on one. Remember earlier you said 11 o'clock games, the students can't get
Yeah.
up. It's better 2:30.
That theory went out the window
So a friend
yesterday.
of mine said to me yesterday, he says, Sid, should look at the student crowd because
Yeah.
they're not here at 2:30.
For 2:30.
They must have had a late night.
Well, I thought it would help them.
Yeah, I know, but it didn't. Maybe.
No.
In fact, they had less there.
McKinley Boston had things going pretty good with the faculty and stuff like that until that Haskins thing happened. This faculty is nothing like Madison.
But that has anything to do with how many
Yes, it
people show
does.
up for games.
They gotta be really interested in sports.
Sid, the program has to turn the corner first before you're going to have people show up consistently and want to party after games. Winning 5 games at this point of the year, it's not enough yet. They got to sustain the success and climb the ladder of bowl games, and then you're going to see the stadium packed and people partying before and after games.
And they'll
more.
come up with their own
Beating
When
they
Purdue-
had the
blowing
when they
up
had
Purdue
Memorial
is not
Stadium.
going to have people running through the streets in glee.
I'll go back with you when they had some winning teams, not win the championship. They didn't draw Memorial Stadium. That's the reason they went to the Metrodome. They thought it would help. They didn't draw when they had winning teams. Before the Vikings were here, yeah. When they had the great teams of Grant and Nomalini, all those guys, they used to sell out. In fact, I used to, $10 tickets, I used to scalp them for those football players and make a little
Figures you
money
did.
for them.
No!
You probably kept 50% of the profit.
You made a little money for them? Yeah. Wait a second.
Nothing for me.
Actually,
No, I know. You
actually,
never do
next
that.
year too, it should be a little
you're
better.
so full.
Go.
It should be a little better when the light rail's finished too. I think that's going to be a big plus.
Well, we
First
gotta
of all,
learn how to
get
use
there-
light rail, too,
No,
though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying not to fight the light rail, to get over the
awful,
traffic's
isn't it?
bad right now. It's tough traffic right now.
What was it like, Louis, when you were playing hockey there? Did you go to a lot of the football games?
Always, never missed
Who
one.
were the stars?
Oh, Tom Brown. That's when they had the great teams: Sandy Stevens, Bobby Bell, Carl Eller, Tom Brown.
What was that
Tom
event like
Moe.
at that time?
It was. We used to fill it at that time. It
Yeah.
was fun. The games were great. The teams were terrific, and the town was demanding.
The
Remember,
Vikings weren't here.
they hung Warmath in effigy in '59, and in '61 he wins the national championship. I mean,
Not 59, 60, 61.
when they hung him.
The Vikings weren't here then.
Right.
The Vikings were nothing early in their career. Once Grant got here,
Things
the
changed.
whole thing turned around.
Yep.
For some reason, you look on the press box size, and I'll guarantee you, there isn't 20 people 50 years or younger sitting there.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, it used to be the same way at the Metrodome.
Yep.
They somehow got to get the young people interested. They can't get their own students interested. The student attendance at yesterday's game was a disgrace.
Yeah.
There was nobody there.
Yeah, and as we said, it's obviously not the 2:30 kickoff, so I don't know what the next plan
it's
is
gonna
on
take
that.
time. You know what you should have done, Sid? They should have burned Tim Rooster in effigy. That probably would have packed the stadium.
What? Embarrassing what?
After this, stay with us.
What's
Oh, yeah, Bruce Bonine and the whole group out there. Stop on by, say hi, take it for a test drive, and you'll never drive another vehicle again once you get behind the wheel of an Audi. A4, A7, Q5, Q7, you name the vehicle, they've got it there. It is pristine. It is great value. And see those rings up there in the corner of the screen? Drive around and look how many vehicles you see with them, because that tells the story. You were saying that stadiums don't make as big a difference as what we think.
Stadiums don't sell tickets. The tip-off is, you want to look at the baseball stadiums that sold tickets for the first couple of years? Baltimore, Cleveland,
Okay.
unbelievable. And all of a sudden, they don't win, and it's all over.
Okay, but take XL, for example. People really like that arena, and they sold out for, what, 10, 11 years, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's a pretty good run.
The XL has the same kind of effect that Target Field's got right now. The atmosphere there, the ambiance, people enjoy going there. They have a good time. Even when a team's not winning all the time, they're enjoying the experience that they're having there. So it really helps get people in there. XL's had a great run, and I think Target Field's going to have a great run because it's a great stadium.
But Lavelle, that was my next question. Is Target Field, obviously plenty of empty seats come September now this year, and you hear stories about the sponsors not re-upping and all that. What are we going to see?
Well, I think you're going to see. You start seeing the bump this year, and it's probably going to be another bump
Slide, you mean?
Another slide,
Yeah.
exactly, next year. You know, a lot of their group contracts were for 3 years. Those will run out. And I think group sales really started to take a nosedive this year. That's why in August and September, you started seeing the upper decks being more empty and empty. So, you know, unless the Twins have a whopper of an offseason and come back with Zach Greinke and some other great pitcher, you know, I think people are going to sit back and say, prove it to us that you guys are going to put a winner on the field.
Here's the thing, like Louis said, I thought Louis said this, something about Target Field, the atmosphere there will still draw some people.
Well, for
So
some.
a lot of
I
those
agree.
people, let me finish. A lot of those people don't even go to the game. I'll walk in the halls there, and I'll tell you what, every bar is filled. Every bar on the whole thing is filled. They're watching the game on TV. They're drinking. They're eating. For some reason, for a while, they'll draw some people.
It's a heck of a. They did a great job with that facility. I think it's one of the top 2 or 3 stadiums in baseball. I had an opportunity. I took my brother on his birthday to a Twins game, and we had Champions Club tickets. And most of the people stayed back in the club during the game to sit at the bar and watch the game or get bites to eat instead of sitting out in the seats. So yeah, I think they've created something there where you can come for the social aspect of just being able to hang out, which I think. The same thing happened at Excel the first few years it was open.
First 10 years.
I mean, that's 10 years is
10
a
years
long
is a
run.
heck of a long run.
Didn't the
Now,
attendance
they
drop?
were always, I mean, they weren't a bad team, but
No.
they only had the one run.
Yeah, they had
only
one
won
run.
the playoffs one time.
Right.
Why did the North Stars leave? Because they had a lot of empty seats. The Guns wanted them to do a few things, they wouldn't do
Let's
it.
ask Louis.
They left because we couldn't get $15 million to put in more suites and expand the concourses, so it was easier for people to come in and have an experience that was enjoyable.
But you weren't drawing, though.
Well, everybody that doesn't win eventually doesn't draw, then they go back to drawing again.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't win all the time, so it's going to be cyclical. So as soon as you lose, you don't throw in the towel, then you keep working to get back at it. But you got to have the opportunity to get a lot of revenues. You need the suites, you need the loge boxes, you need the ambiance that all these new stadiums have, and the ways to create revenue.
Why did Green move then? He wasn't drawing.
What did you say?
moved because I just told you. First of all, they wouldn't give money to fix the arena.
know.
Then they wouldn't even let him he wanted to attach a shopping mall between the Met Center and the Mall of America. He couldn't get that done either. And so he'd put $7 million in a building. No one was going to help him, so he left.
And now we lead the world in sports facilities.
Yeah.
That's right. Now we've got the greatest sports facilities, the St. Paul Saints, the Gopher baseball, football, we are the greatest sports facilities.
Mariucci, the women have a hockey arena.
They share Madison Square Garden, they share Staples Center. Not here, man.
Oh, no.
Everybody gets their own here. Take a break, come back. Chase, the NFL, Minnesota Vikings, a Gallo wine at the midseason rally coming up this Tuesday at Bar Abilene in Uptown. What an event. Open to the public for free. It's free of charge. Donations to the Kick Hunger Challenge to support the Second Harvest Heartland Food Bank right here in Minnesota. Everybody's encouraged to come, get autographs, mingle with Minnesota Vikings. Brinkley, Sanford,
What's the date?
Foreman, McDaniel, they'll all be there in 2 days, Tuesday. Sample food. Sid, you just said the magic words from a variety of food stations. You're in now. Along with fabulous Gallo wines. For more information, tasteofthenfl.com. Wayne Kostrowski.
Where is it?
Does an excellent job at Bar Abilene. See right here, it says you can sample free food. So
Yeah.
now I know you're going.
Yes, sir.
You saw that ad for Starkey Hearing.
Yeah.
They're helping you a lot.
Starkey, wasn't for Starkey, I'd be out of business. I'm out of business anyway. But they do a great job with their hearing aids and other instruments they have that help you a great deal.
Louis, is this lockout going to be lifted ever or not?
Well, I was hoping it's going to be done by the end of November. I'm still keeping a slight hope out. Fear's coming here tonight. He's going to meet with the players here in town. He's got 30, 40 players here in town he's going to talk to. And they got to find a way to just resolve the differences about the guaranteed contracts right now. That's the big sticking point.
What's Fear here for?
To talk to 30 or 40 players he's got in town to let them know what's going on and get the feelings that they have about the lockout.
Mike Russo, our Star Tribune hockey writer, he said on the radio earlier today that he thinks that the Winter Classic is going to be canceled sometime this week, just because it's just not going to be enough time to get that thing amped up. And he said there's been some reports out there that they estimates that it was going to bring 75 to 80 million to Detroit.
Oh yeah,
having that game.
You're going to have 110,000 people coming.
No.
And they
Here's
come
the
from
thing.
all over, but they'll give that a couple more weeks. They're
Well, plus
they're
if you-
hoping to keep
you
it.
could maybe
Louis
still
said-
do it at a different date, right? I mean, even if you push.
Well, no, it's really becoming, an annual event around a certain date
Yeah.
that they
I
want.
got you. They wanna keep it with that, yeah.
Bridgestone is the title sponsor,
Yeah.
and they haven't done any advertising. And HBO wanted to do that series,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
running
It's a
up
great
there.
series.
They've got to get, they need to get the production rolling on that.
That's the
There's a
best
lot
thing
of-
that happened to hockey.
A lot of tentacles to this thing. I can't get the.
Hang on,
Yeah.
hang on.
Louis,
Hang on. You guys gonna dominate this? Or you can let Sid talk.
Like Louis
Sorry.
said, half the owners don't want a season until January 1st.
Well, I didn't say they don't want it, but they're not going to lose much money if they don't have one until then because they don't have to fight football. They still want a season, and obviously hockey was really on the uptrend, and this is hurting them. It's not good for them.
Did they sign guys to contracts that they knew they'd never have to pay?
No, I don't think they signed them for that reason. They wanted to sign them not knowing what the new collective bargaining agreement was going to have, and they wanted to tie these guys up so they wouldn't get caught. It was more of that than it was the uncertainty of what they were going to get with the new contract.
You actually think that because of that big game, outdoor game, they'll
We gotta
settle
go,
the thing?
Sid.
No,
We'll
no, I'm
follow
saying
up on this next
they'd
week.
like to
Thanks
get
for
it
watching,
done.
everybody.